I was on my 285th combat mission, and you always think that, well, it's always going to happen to the other guys. Well, suddenly it was happening to me.
All of a sudden, there was a bunch of little golf balls coming by my canopy.
And about that time, the airplane blew up.
Then I'm running out of altitude.
We always thought, well, either I come back or I get killed. You know, that we just forgot all about this stuff in the middle.
March 1965. The USS Midway begins its first combat deployment, launching strikes against North Vietnam. Flying into the teeth of sophisticated enemy air defenses, more than 500 naval aircraft would be lost in action during the war, and 179 naval aviators would endure hell in captivity.
I have one more cat shot than I have landing on the Midway because I didn't come back for my last mission. We were in a bad situation. We were serving in a different capacity, but we were still on active duty.
You don't realize what you can accomplish or what you can put up with until you're faced with it.
Everyone got the initial torture session. I never saw a delegation, never made a confession, never signed a letter of any kind, because they knew it was going to take them a long time. And so began what ended up being almost 6 years, not just in the HANOI Hilton, but in outlying camps.
The HANOI Hilton, Dogpatch, Dirty Bird, and the ironically named Camp Hope, plus 9 more North Vietnamese prison camps in which simple survival was the goal, and the Geneva Accords was a myth.
One of the things that we lived on over there was the belief that our country would never abandon us. That was certainly a value that you had that carried you through.
Shot down in August 1964, Lieutenant J.G. Everett Alvarez Jr. embodied the strength of character that would define the collective experience.
I was there by myself, so I don't know if I set the standards for others, but I do know that I set the standard for myself. If you take the easy way out, you go against your own principles, you really destroy your soul.
One of the things that helped us get through the POW experience was the mutual support and relationships that we had within the camp of one guy helping another get through.
My wife knew I had been captured, but she didn't know what had happened to me for 3 years. She had the tough role. You're looking for heroes in our family? She's the hero.
By the end of 1972, Bill Stark had been imprisoned for almost 6 years, Everett Alvarez more than 8. But peace negotiations were beginning to deliver results. 6 weeks later, Operation Homecoming commenced, the final major action of America's war in Vietnam.
Walked us out through the Heartbreak Hotel. Across the street, a lot of Vietnamese people. They weren't throwing flowers as Ho Chi Minh predicted they would do on the day that we left Vietnam, but they weren't throwing anything else either.
We crossed the Vietnamese coast on the way to Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines, and the pilot came across the intercom and he said, "We are exiting Vietnam airspace, and we're now in international airspace over the Tonkin Gulf." And the plane just erupted. I mean, we just went crazy.
We have a very strong common bond amongst our group. That was our motto, to come home with our honor as a group. It's the character of the individuals.
The smallest jail cell in the world is right here. If you continue to keep hating and dwelling on that like that, you're still a prisoner up here. And the Lord's Prayer says what? Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those. And so, well, it was good enough for Jesus. I guess it's good enough for Jack Inch. I'm proudest that when push came to shove and the chips were down, I could apply it and come through and return with honor just like everybody else.